repair, and maintain guidance missile launching systems, shipboard guns, and small arms, earning the expert rifleman and pistol medals all along the way. Upon leaving the military service, he moved to Fargo, North Dakota, where he began working in the security industry for the largest hotel property in that state. Roughly 2 years ago, he moved back home to be closer to family and continues to distinguish himself in the security industry. He will be speaking about issues we can tackle to better our society without sacrificing our freedoms, as the current government seems ready and willing to do. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. Jeremiah Potter.
Woo!
How you folks doing?
Woo!
We're here. Outstanding, outstanding. Before I roll into my speech here, I want to tell you a little bit about how I got to be standing where I am. Shortly after Sandy Hook, I was talking with a friend of mine at work about the incident, and she was so impressed with my arguments that she said, well, you know what, you need to go out and do something to, speak your mind. You need to be able to go out and, tell people how things really are. So I started a Facebook site called Second Amendment, Protector of American Freedom. When you have a moment, I'd suggest you go check it out, look it out. If you like it, hit that like button. I could always use more followers on that. Anyhow, I had been going back and forth one night between that and my personal site, and I had noticed little suggestion little thing there for the event here, and clicked on it and I checked it out. And I thought, well, this would give me an opportunity to be able to come out and stand and talk in front of some folks instead of just ranting on my page. So I decided to message a guy, and Travis was wonderful enough to have me come in and say a few words. You have to forgive me here. I'm not used to necessarily talking in front of crowds. At least anything nearly this big. The biggest crowd I've dealt with is maybe about 20 or 25 people when teaching CPR and first aid from time to time. So you have to bear with me. Over recent weeks, there's been much debate on how to address violence in our society. There have been the typical knee-jerk reactions, such as compromising the freedom of all citizens due to the grotesque and incomprehensible actions of only a few. But there's been little to no discussion of realistic solutions that will address the problems at hand. There have been folks on both sides of the issue who have blamed a variety of entertainment mediums of desensitizing people to violence, essentially. However, even these factors, as important as they may be, do not necessarily strike the heart of the matter. The answer is so obvious that it's been staring us in the face for generations, long before the advent of media or entertainment as we know it today. What is it? It's a golden rule. Treat others how you wish to be treated. Now this sounds too simplistic, too idealistic of an answer for such a complex issue, some would object. Others would say that we need ideas to rectify the situation right now. I do not believe the issue to be as complex as some people would say. And I gotta admit, one of the many things I've learned in my time is that there is no quick fix to anything. Splints, bandages, tourniquets, they're all stopgap measures, nothing more. We need the equivalent of surgery to rid our society of moral decay, for it is a cancer that plagues us. Through doing this, we can revive our civility, our morality. We can save our honor, our self-respect, and our common decency. We must face facts, ladies and gentlemen. Our great nation has lost its moral compass. I believe it is time that we find it.
Amen. Amen.
No. Now, this does not mean we need to embark on a religious crusade. As much as religion gives us comfort, as well as a sense of morality, we run the dangerous risk of having one group's beliefs set the example for all others to follow. That in turn will violate our Constitution's First Amendment. So how do we do it then? It's easy. No matter where you come from on this planet, no matter what cultural cocoon you metamorphosized from, there are basic and fundamental morals that are shared between us all. These are what need to be focused upon, bringing them forth from the darkness and into the light of day. It is through use of these fundamentals that we may begin to reclaim our humanity. Now, is this something we can legislate? Something that can be made manifest to thwack us over the head when we fall off the wagon? No, it isn't. We cannot force people to treat each other with civility, just as much as we cannot force people to wipe emotions like hatred from their hearts and their minds. This is where we come to influences, both internal and external. Internal influences not only provide us the building blocks, but the mold in which we first form our ideas and concepts of what the world is. It is our parents and grandparents who impart to us the knowledge of what is right and wrong, of what is good and evil. We may learn many other things in school, but it is our parents that teach us how to speak our first words, how to begin to count and to read. It is from our family that we develop our first thoughts and our beliefs, our code of conduct, our morality. It is from this foundation that we begin to grow into our own. By the time children hit their preteen years, most of them are brash, reckless, thinking that they know everything, and they begin to rebel against their parents. As we all know, that's the nature of children. It is here that they are at their most vulnerable and where external influences can wreak the most havoc. Children are influenced by what they see in the movie theaters, by what they watch on TV, by the games that they play. They're influenced by their interactions inside and outside of school, and something I didn't have to deal with until I was in high school, the internet. It is the responsibility of parents to monitor these viewing and playing habits to ensure that the content is appropriate. Sometimes that means taking the time to research content of a movie or a video game, putting their foot down when necessary, even if the kid down the street got his parents to buy the same game or the same movie. Thankfully, those parents have help. They've got the Motion Picture Association of America. They've got the parental TV guidelines. And for video games, they've got the ESRB, the Electronic Software Rating Board. Now, each of them, they rate their material by the content that's in it. These contents, these ratings are plain as day on the packaging. Do the research. Your children may hate you for it now, but they will thank you later for your due diligence and for standing your ground, especially when it's their turn to raise a family. I must admit to y'all that aside from being a firearms enthusiast, I'm also an audio-video aficionado. Geek, nerd, call it whatever you will. My first video game system was an Atari 2600. Taking into consideration I'm 33, yeah, I've literally been playing video games since I was in diapers. And you know what? I'm going to be playing them until I'm old and gray. Now, I'd like to take a moment to speak on video games, give them my love and appreciation for them. The industry has come a long way since Pong, Space Invaders, and Pac-Man. Video games have evolved from simple children's toys into a medium in which grand and epic interactive stories are told. My personal favorite among these being the Halo saga. Along the way, they have been through the same trials and tribulations that books, music, and film ultimately have endured. There is always someone to object to content and paint the entire industry with a broad brush. I will be among the first to concede that there have been some horrendous games over the years, mixed in with some gems like Kingdom Hearts, Gran Turismo, and even the Guitar Hero series. Of course, the aforementioned Halo saga. There's one example of those negative ones in particular I want to bring up. It's something I've been able to shake from my head for years on end. That game is called Manhunt. To give you the short version, the game is about a man on death row who is allegedly executed, but in reality has been forced to participate in the production of snuff films. To survive each quote-unquote scene, the character must hide in the shadows and stealthily kill gang members called hunters. The player gets graded upon how fast they complete each scene and on the number and variety of stealth kills they make with a selection of different weapons available throughout the game. A unique idea? Yeah, I suppose so. But in my opinion, done in extremely poor taste. Even if the game does have solid gameplay and receive decent reviews. I pulled it out of my console after about a half an hour and sold it the next day. It's just something that didn't hit my fancy. I bring this example up for one reason. There will always be material of poor quality, whether it's in a video game, a book, or a film. We may not be able to tell the studios and the publishers that they cannot create this kind of crap, but by God, as consumers, we can simply refuse to buy it. They will eventually get that idea. I'll be frank. There's only so much parents alone can do to protect and provide positive influences for their children. We, as a society, need to be more conscientious regarding the kinds of entertainment our children are exposed to. Banning and censoring programming or content is not the answer, just as banning firearms or limiting the size of magazines is not the answer. I call upon the executives of the entertainment industry to be more mindful of the types of movies they produce, to the programming that they air on our television, and the content of video games. To be more alert and aware of the types of products they market towards our children, even if it means losing out on a profit. It is up to you, the entertainment industry, to not only to thrill and entertain us, but also to set an example for future generations. I believe it is high time that we begin to be less concerned with what makes the most money and more concerned with the welfare and society of our society as a whole. To those who make these command-level decisions in the industry, to those who stand behind a podium or on top of soapbox, to those who hold a microphone or even a bullhorn, you have an obligation to speak up, to speak out, as I speak to you all here, now, today. I'll close with this. Having respect for yourself and for others. Showing the proper reverence and respect for your parents, for your God or gods, however you wing that. Respecting your property and the property of others. The giving and accepting of hospitality. Doing what you can to better your community. If something nice cannot be said, then do not speak. Treating others how you wish to be treated. These are prime examples of universal morality and civility. They lead to other traits, such as patience, acceptance, and tolerance. If all of us, not just here in the United States of America, but if everyone across the globe were to take these in mind, take them into their hearts, and live every single day with this philosophy in mind, the world would be a much brighter place and a much more harmonious place in which to go forth and prosper. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.